Hey guys, this is KSP with Tape, and today you join me for episode 16 of Solar Civilization, and today we start with another mission to Minmus. The same sort of craft. Well, this is basically just a minor little science, so I can build something really cool, which you'll see later in this episode. A little hint, it's a space shuttle. So yeah, this is obviously my reusable launch vehicle. We're just gonna kind of do the standard thing, go to Minmus, hopefully not get stuck or crash or anything. Although actually the game did crash when I was playing it, not just like a normal crash, like everything, the save file completely melted. Well, it seemed to completely melt, but I managed to salvage it. So yeah, there's still Solar Civilization. So that's fine. Anyway, we'll ditch that and try to make this, put this into a nice orbit before that main stage deorbits. But first we're going to redirect the main stage, because it's, more efficient to do it now. And I'll just flip it round and then switch right back to the Morpheus 3, which is my lander. It's got it's the same thing as I've landed on the Minmus before, with a little detachable science pod. It's the same one I landed on the moon as well, which got stuck in a couple of episodes ago, maybe? I don't know. The one with the temporary base. I do want to be putting a permanent base on the moon really soon. That rhymed. I think I'll probably do that in... Well, I've got an Eve window coming up, as you can see in the couple alarm clocks, so I'm going to want to catch that. And then, we'll deal with that later. But anyway, this main stage, I kind of overshot, and I'm now going to fall down on water, and we all know water is completely deadly. It's, yeah, it'll kill you. So we're just going to kind of hope that something survives and we can salvage, something, but the parachute overheats, and then the parachute overheats, so now we're landing on 3 chutes on water. So this doesn't look like it's going to go well, but it did survive re-entry, unlike the last couple of stages. So maybe we'll get something back, or maybe it'll all destroy itself. I can't for the life of me remember what happens, because this was recorded quite a while ago. But it comes down now and breaks apart. But we do get the engines back. They're the really expensive things, and a couple of landing legs, so that's nice. Anyway, back in space with Morpheus 3. We've got Gene Rod, Luke, and Kerbal coming. Obviously, Luke is the commander, because, Luke Skywalker. Gene Rod, the geologist, and Fredbat, the guy who's standing in for Filling, because, well, he's our newest recruit, I think, because Filling was killed in a awful crash, which made me very sad, because Filling was legendary. But yeah, he died in that SSTO crash, which sucks. So I built a better SSTO, and I'm gonna have to, convince one of the guys to get into it. And like, duh, like, it won't burn up. What are you talking about? Oh, and you can just see the Dres probe heading off there. Anyway, we'll set Minmus as our target, and well, we're going to need a little maneuver node to get out there. I think here should be good. I'm getting pretty good at eyeballing going to Minmus. I probably could do it without maneuver nodes, but it's, it's good to use it. And thank you to the person outside driving with a stupidly loud engine. That makes recording videos sound great. I wonder if you can hear that. It sounds terrible. There you go. Nice little encounter. Yeah. Well, Minmus is obviously pretty inclined. Anyway, I skipped ahead through a few things, so just a little bit more fine-tuning. Because it was a little boring, and you've probably seen it before, unless I cut it out every time, but but you just basically want to see the burn. So we'll ignite our engines and head out. I believe this is at 4 times time accelerate now. I kind of cut between 4 times time accelerate and 1 times time accelerate. It's probably fairly obvious, but we'll I'll keep mentioning it constantly. Yeah, this stage it's on. Oh yeah, just take a little temperature scan. I haven't actually done temperature scans around Kerbin. I always unlock new science things and just forget to put them on my craft. So like in this other save I've got going with Interstellar that I'm just messing around with, I've got a bunch of science I still need to do around bodies I've visited loads, because I just haven't bothered to update any of my crafts with the new science equipment. No, actually this stage does that quite nicely. Oh, it doesn't quite do the fine-tune. That has to be done with the lander, but Minmus is really easy to land on, so it's fine. I should probably at some point start developing some new kind of landing hardware, because I have some pretty cool ideas for some landers, kind of 2-stage landers. I quite like how they look, even though I should be making more kind of single-stage things. I do quite like having the two-stage landers. I like leaving stuff on the surface. But that stage burns out, so we'll just ignite the landing engines and just make it make a nice encounter there. Yeah. Luckily, we're not using the engine igniter mod, which I'm using in my other series, the Rescale Kerbal one, which is going pretty well. I think I quite like it. But yeah, that means you can only ignite your engine a certain amount of times unless you like add more fuses or whatever to them, which is a really nice addition and more realistic. Yeah, I do quite like playing with the realism overhaul, which is basically a huge collection of mods to make it super realistic. Which it's so kind of it's a weird way to play it. It doesn't feel anything like KSP actually. You think, oh, it's because it's playing with a bigger solar system and stuff. It doesn't feel anything like KSP for some reason. But anyway, we'll focus on this series and just pick a nice landing site. Probably some more flats. I mean, I've landed in the greater flats, I think. So I think that little patch up there, the little ones just above the greater flats, which you can kind of see there. I think they're just either the lesser flats or just the flats. I don't know. So we'll just zip down and change our inclination a little and go in for a nice little landing. See, all the Kerbals look completely bemused. They have no idea what's going on. But yeah, we'll just slow it down now. Really easy to slow down on Minmus because like orbital velocity is like 180 meters a second, which makes it really nice to just mess around with. And I'm thinking if I have a fueling base, Minmus would be the place to go because yeah, it's a little more delta V to actually get out there, but landing is so much less that a moon base would be probably a little illogical. But I'll probably put them on all of them. I want to put bases everywhere, but this is episode 16 already, and there are no bases except the orbital one. So I think that I will be putting some places in future episodes. I actually have nothing recorded for the next episode for once in a while because I haven't been playing the save so much because I overplayed it loads and made way too many episodes and all that. So yeah, we'll look at bases in future episodes, like near future episodes. Anyway, we have a lot of science to do now, so we can unlock things to make a cool looking shuttle. You'll see it in a bit, so I can describe it then. Yeah, I actually designed the shuttle ages ago, but yeah, let's observe this materials bay, or just right-click on it and stare at it for a while for some reason. Anyway, there you go, 125 science, that'll do nicely. Of course, we all know this, we've been here before with this exact craft. We do need to log the temperature. That looks cold, I guess. It would probably be cold. I'm not sure of the exact temperature of Minmus, but it would probably be around 2.7 degrees Kelvin, because that is the accepted temperature of space. But anyway, Luke Kerman needs to get out, and I think probably plant a flag. Because we want to put flags places. If nothing else, I put flags down just to label where I've been, because when I didn't label it, I'd get very confused as where I'd been and where I hadn't been, which was kind of a little annoying. But anyway, we'll get a Gene Rod out now, or maybe Fred, about one of them. He's going to get out and do loads of science and jumping and stuff. Well, kind of walking as jumping. Yeah, there you go. Minmus's flats. We'll just take a surface sample as well. Just grab some of that stuff and put it on your food for snacks. And now Luke Kerman must plant the huge flag he keeps in his pocket because, use of impossible space. But anyway, this is the it's the flats landing, if I can spell right. And that will remind me in future where I have been. Now to think of something interesting. Captained. Oh yeah, I just tend to put who it's captained by. Captained by Luke Kerman. I started just putting crew and spacecraft on the flags. Just I don't know. Oh, didn't even write down the spacecraft. I bet Morpheus 3 is very upset about that. And this guy just falls off because he's really smart, and then falls off again. But it's Minmus, so he can just won't even feel anything. But he needs to grab the science from the materials base. He's the engineer, of course. He knows how to operate all this machinery and not screw it up, so he must be the one to grab all the data. Yeah. I think I'm gonna... Well, I've got to collect a crew together for going to Eve. Oh, I've got to do that next episode, haven't I? Because I've got a crew heading out to Duna. That was actually sent quite a while ago, but yeah. They don't even it was sent so long ago, they didn't even have nuclear engines, which is, crazy. But yeah. Hopefully that'll not screw up. And Eve is a little harsher because I can't really land there unless I take a huge launch vehicle. Not launch vehicle. Well, it would be a launch vehicle off Eve, but if I take a huge craft, and I'm not going to make some stupid asparagus staged madman thing that doesn't look anything like a launch vehicle. Although, in fairness, I was actually watching Hot Gaming's new Spacia launch system, and it was kind of interesting, but one of those huge asparagus stage things where, and with 3.5 meter parts as well, it kind of, you look at it, you're like, well, it doesn't look like a launch vehicle, but it can lift quite a lot. But I suppose, yeah, I mean, I was quite interested to see what you could lift with that kind of crazy thing with 3.5 meter parts. I'm not actually sure what it turned out to, how much it turned out to lift. But anyway, this is Gene Rod, and he needs to go and check out some other geological sites because he is the geologist, as I've said many a time, and I believe this is sped up now. Yeah, there it is. Because this took a little while, and he's just going to use his little RCS pack to move over to probably lowlands or midlands. That's probably what it is. There you go, just stop yourself in the air and land. And actually, this is at 4 times time accelerate in the game as well, or at least it was. So that was 16 times time accelerate. Yay, jittery. And now we'll just put ourselves down. I was actually doing some things, again, in another save, where I got stuck around the moon and had to do some really kind of detailed maneuvers with just an RCS pack. It was kind of difficult. So we'll take a surface sample from the Highlands and fly back. But yeah, basically I got a spacecraft stuck in orbit of the moon, and I had to grab a solar panel because I was using tech life support. So I had to send out a guy called Kirk Kerman, who sadly died, to go and grab some things. And it made me realize, hey, I know a little bit about orbital mechanics, because even without a nav ball, I was able to maneuver in and grab the stuff. Although there was an annoying glitch with Kerbal attachment system, where if you like quick load and quick save, they just become inanimate objects and you can't use the Kerbals. Or either that or there was too much radiation dose, or so, it was something annoying, so I lost all the Kerbals. But it was kind of interesting to do all that maneuvering just with an RCS pack in the map view. But anyway, Gene Rod must get back on board the spacecraft, because this is a short mission. We need the science now, so they won't be testing all the life support and all that. But anyway, let's get it in this. There you go. Look at it go. Anyway, we must leave, so we'll close up the ladder and we'll head off. Yeah, it's been a pretty quick mission, but I was desperate to go back and build myself a space shuttle because it's so pretty. Because I just like how they look, and it's a really nice way of doing a cargo vehicle, because I haven't unlocked any of the cargo bays, and I like a manned cargo vehicle because I don't have any of the cargo bays that are kind of like inline cargo bays or anything. So I only really have shuttle cargo bays, so it's a pretty good way of doing a cargo vehicle. Anyway, that looks like a good return if we just adjust it slightly so we don't slam right into the ground and burn up, or get too much G-force and kill everyone, because that is a ever-present danger. You'll come back too hard and there'll be too much G-force and it'll tear your spacecraft apart, or just kill your Kerbals. I mean, sometimes people on Earth do come back at 9 Gs, and that's pretty rough, I hear. I don't know what that would be kind of. Well, I don't know if there's a planet that would be similar to being on, kind of like a planet with 9 times gravity. Maybe a gas giant, although no, that'd be much higher gravity. I have no idea. I should look into it. But anyway, we're coming back to Kerbal now, and it's looking fine. Everyone looks happy, and we have tons of life support left. This is kind of like a long mission craft, I guess. I mean, it's got like 17-ish days of life support for 3 guys. So, it can do a nice little mission around the Kerbal system. But anyway, coming back spinning for some reason. I blame Ferrum Aerospace. Coming back jittering like hell at 16 times time accelerate this is. Because 4 times and 4 times in the game. But it looks like we're landing on the mountains, so maybe we can get another report. Drop the heat shield and that explodes. And touch down. So we'll get a Luke out, because and I've already done all this science apparently. But anyway, this is the space shuttle. Yeah, this is made of mainly B9 parts and a few KW boosters. If you watch Interstellar Quest, it does look quite a lot like that. It is based on that, but it has much more powerful engines. It has a bigger main fuel tank. It's a slightly different orbiter vehicle, but it's not completely dissimilar from the one from Interstellar Quest. But I think that was only used. I think Scott only used that twice and then built a loads better one. But I'm going to continue to use this because I really like how it looks, and I've used it so many times. Yeah, so this is taking a small satellite to orbit. I believe I can get about 6 tons to orbit with this. Um, I like one of the best things about the new updates for Kerbal Space Program is that you can tweak the thrust of a solid rocket booster in the VAB, which means that I can that it's easier to take variable payloads. Because obviously, if you put a bigger payload in the cargo bay, it's going to change the center of mass, so it doesn't work. So it will just be very unstable. But you can change the solid rocket booster mode, so it's easier. Those engines at the back, I think, are tilted 15 degrees. They don't gimbal much because the real space shuttle had engines that gimbal 10 degrees. These only gimbal 1.5 degrees, so these have to be tilted. But basically, if I keep transferring fuel every now and again, well, the way it draws fuel keeps the mass pretty centralized, but I have to transfer occasionally just to keep it stable. And even with a pretty heavy cargo in the cargo bay, once the solid rocket boosters have ditched, it basically stays the same for stability, but I have to change the solid rocket boosters. I have to make them less powerful with higher payload, so it has kind of that limitation. But yeah, it's pretty nice. I quite like how it looks, and it returns quite nicely, much better than the SSTO. Although this particular one has pretty close together wheel bays, which kind of makes it a little unstable on landing, so I'll probably have to update that. And I have quite a few plans for actually updating the shuttle. One of them is to put air brakes on it, like a proper, just like inline air brakes. I really like them. They allow you to slow down a lot. But yeah, this is, my kind of, well, sort of first attempt. I built it quite a while ago in a really old, not a really old, kind of a much older save of KSP. So it's a relic, really. But I really like it, and it took me quite a while to work out. So I've been using it in basically all of my career mode saves, just because I really do like it, and I kind of want to use it for some space station work. But this is just its test flight. I think what I'm going to do is name every shuttle, give it its own name, so when it crashes, I rename it, like in the real. Well, if it crashes, that is. This is called Ares, Space Shuttle Mark 1, because obviously the real shuttle, like the first one was called Columbia, that burnt up on re-entry, that was, quite sad, and then Challenger, the famous one, which blew up on launch, and then there was Discovery, I think that didn't blow up, there was Atlantis, and one of the most famous ones, Endeavour. So yeah, if I lose a shuttle, I'd quite like to rename it. And I might have a couple going at the same time and just have different names. I just quite like the idea of naming a craft. But yeah, this is Ares, and it's gonna be. I really like how it looks and stuff, and the RCS is pretty good. It's balanced quite nicely. The RCS is also its orbital maneuvering system, or OMS pods, because there aren't any actual OMS, and I'm not going to bring liquid fuel because that would require extra engines, because those engines are tilted. So it's just going to be RCS craft, and it will probably never go beyond low carbon orbit, maybe geostationary, well, geostationary. But anyway, we'll detach that. We'll detach our little satellite. It is just a communications satellite at this time. I don't have remote tech installed. I was actually looking at remote tech, and there is a patch which makes it work all right, although there's some graphics glitching, and it seems to stop you being able to use your antennas for transmitting science, which is a little annoying. And I wouldn't be able to just put remote tech on now, because then I'd lose a bunch of spacecraft. But maybe in a future series, if they fix it. Apparently it's going to be fixed properly for a 0.24, so maybe I'll do something with that, and especially given that there'll be money in 2.4, so that'll be very interesting. I will definitely be doing a series on that, because I am money obsessed. But no, that's... anyway, back to the satellite. This satellite has its own maneuvering, as most of my satellites do. It has some RCS, so it can change its orbit. Not that I probably ever will. Oh, screenshot right there. Yeah, but not that I ever really will change the orbit of that. But it's nice to think that it can. I usually include it on keyframe scanners. But anyway, let's just get one of the Kerbals out, I guess, and or move away from the spacecraft, I guess. Oh, I need to close that cargo bay, really. But yeah, I mean, it maneuvers quite nicely and stays quite balanced. I do quite like how the. I have said I quite like the shuttle a lot. You will notice that there are extra wings. That idea is completely stolen from Scott Manley, actually. But there are extra wings inside the main wings. But in my updated version, which I've already made on a different save and will probably be using because I really like it, I have replaced those wings with just one. So it doesn't need that much lift. That is far too much lift. Um, so yeah, there will be a updated version of this soon. But anyway, yeah, this is I think Gene Rod Kerman just kind of being a moron. But anyway, he needs to get back into the shuttle, and I need to say that I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we will see the landing in the next episode. We'll see how that goes with the the really narrow landing gear. That's not foreshadowing at all. Anyway, like I say, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. This has been KSP with Tape. I will see you next time.